Hello and welcome to episode 13 of the Frame and Sequence podcast. My name is Todd Rittendaro, and in this episode I sit down with photographers Stephanie Draime and Eduardo Cerruti. Stephanie and Eduardo are a New York City-based photography team, as well as life partners. Coming from greatly distinct backgrounds, Eduardo is originally from Florence, Italy, and Stephanie is a Mexican-American who grew up in Hawaii. The two eventually met in Florence, Italy in 2010. They moved together to New York City in 2014 and began to pursue photography together. The two photographers quickly noticed how perfectly they synced as a team and have been fully dedicated to their work ever since, traveling the world shooting for such clients as Serial Magazine, Mr. Porter, Condè Nast Traveler, Suitcase Magazine, and many, many others. We go pretty deep into their experiences in photography, their inspirations, and how they work together. This episode was an absolute pleasure for me, and I hope you enjoy. Well, thank you both so much for doing this. I really appreciate you sitting down with me because I've admired your work for a long time, and I have a long list of questions to ask you that I'm very excited about. So I guess the real question is, how did you guys meet?
We met in Florence, Italy, through a friend at a cafe. And about maybe 2 weeks later, we moved in together in Paris.
Wow.
Yes.
It was quick, but it wasn't. It was mainly because we both wanted to move to Paris. So, we tried and, we finished high school and we were like, let's take a gap here.
Well, no, that wasn't the original plan. It just happened spontaneously. And we didn't know each other, but we were like, well, why not? Let's just do it.
Right. And so what is a little bit of your background, Stephanie? How did you end up in Italy?
My mom's Mexican and my dad's American, born in El Paso, but moved to Hawaii and then lived there for 10 years. When my older sisters graduated high school, my mom wanted for the family just to be together and do one gap year together. So she was like, let's go to Italy. And we ended up staying there.
Not a bad gap year. Incredible. And then, Eduardo, you're from?
I'm Italian. I'm from Florence. I was born there. And lived pretty much my whole life in Florence and until met her after high school, moved to Paris and then New York and then Milan actually because we did university there for 3 years, and then we moved to New York like about 5 years ago.
And were you both doing photography separately before you met?
No, we actually started. So we studied in the same university in Milan, but I did fashion design and he did product design. So we had no photography classes or skills before.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah, but I'm glad we did something different actually, because sometimes I wish we did some photography before, because especially for the technical part that we found ourselves most of the time learning from experience, which is not the best sometimes, because you get into projects, you're really like, oh my god, am I gonna have the knowledge, the technology knowledge to do this. But from another point of view, I'm glad that we did it, because I use so much of what I learned in product design in photography, even Photoshop and things. The approach is different, but you can use so much from there, and I'm glad we did different things actually.
Yeah, I can imagine that's influential to have that perspective.
Yeah, you can mix a lot of things from every creative industry and create something on your own, and it's very useful.
So then after your whirlwind courtship and being whisked away to Paris, how did what was sort of the next evolution of career-wise?
Well, so after Paris we did that in Milan, so that's where we studied in Milan for 3 years, and then we just knew for some reason we wanted to go to New York. I don't know why. It wasn't really, we didn't really talk about it. We were just like, that's where we're going.
Yeah, for sure. We didn't have anything actually when we came here, even job-wise or anything. We're that's the next step.
I think our steps were just kind of like a lot of Americans do after, is just to maybe keep studying, which is not the best, but at least you're doing something.
Right.
And so I kind of did that. I did some fashion styling course. He did some more started going into graphic design a little bit. And that's kind of how the first year was.
But and we slowly got into photography just as a hobby mainly. But and then we started losing our actual focus. That was the job, because we maybe didn't like it that much in a job wise. I liked it, in school. Like I liked design in school. I was like I worked so hard, and I thought like that's what I'm gonna do. But then when it got to like actually working in the field, personally, like it wasn't my thing. Like I was like sometimes I felt like maybe the fact that I didn't have that much like I don't know, the creative part, it wasn't like that satisfying for me in design for some reason.
And then, so do you remember when it was that you first picked up a camera, either one of you?
I think so. When we moved to New York, Instagram was already big. It wasn't as big as it is now, of course, but this was like 5-6 years ago, and it was getting there. We had started in Milan. He didn't even have one. I was just kind of like, posting pictures of like my breakfast. And then in New York, it was so new for us because he had never lived in the States. I hadn't been back living for the last, I think it was almost 10 years, because I stayed in Florence for high school, and then I did a gap year, and then I did university. So it was weird for me as well to be back. And I grew up in Hawaii, so that's like not even the mainland America. So all these new coffee shops and restaurants and hotels were so pleasing to see, and we just kept taking pictures of that with our phone and then on Instagram. And then I think the camera finally came after about, I don't know, like not even a year. Yeah. He was just like, I'm gonna buy a camera. He's more ambitious than I am. And I was like, I don't know, I'm comfortable with my phone. And then I was like, wait, I'm not going to be held back. So then I bought one, and then from there we just kept doing it.
Off to the races.
Yeah.
Very cool. You guys have such a distinct style. I mean, every time a photo pops up, I know it's yours before I even see that it is yours.
Oh my God, that's like the biggest compliment, really. I don't even think so, but thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm super curious. How did you find that style, or how did you find a style together?
I mean, together, I can answer you right away, because I think it's just that we're growing, like we found out about photography together. We grew together in this, so it's like it comes easy. It's not a fact that it's just that we, like, when we find out about something new that we like, some new inspiration, we just share together. It. So it's all together. So like it comes with it. Like the
it's
fact
really
that
weird, because like that's how our relationship is as well, and our like the work side came. I don't know. It's just it all blended together. So it's almost like if we had just one pair of eyes.
Right.
So we don't even talk about it. We just already know that we both kind of have the same style, and that's it.
So, yeah, it's so fascinating. And was that a gradual evolution of style?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we went through like so much, and like depends also like, because like of course like as every artists we like to take inspiration from people, and that's the biggest part for us too, like because we research and we see what we like, and we try and get and propose something that we like.
I think even now our style's changing, so it's like even I think it's just like where we are in life and what attracts us at that moment. We'll like do it to the fullest,
right?
And then move on. And then sometimes we'll pick up things that we know we actually truly like and represent us in a way, and then those little things will keep following us through our photographs.
Yeah, exactly.
And some we'll leave behind because maybe it was just a trend, maybe we didn't know why we were doing it, or it's just like a process.
Yeah, that's true. Like we move on, but we bring with us like parts of what we did. Like, and so the style changes, but there is always like that line
that core, that thread that strings them together. Oh, that's very cool. When you were first starting out and experimenting, were you looking at other photographers or old masters or anything like that?
Yeah, of course. And I mean, at the beginning, it's weird because I think it's the opposite. Because at the beginning, we started like looking at more like contemporary photographer, like people that work now. And then and the more we go ahead, the more we look at like older
iconic photographers.
And it's maybe because it's like just we didn't have the knowledge about like those people and the work that they did, but I would say like, for example, when we started, like the main thing for us, like it was like Zero magazine or like Rich, and so that was like mainly what we liked, so what we were trying to go for,
kind of going in that direction. Nice. And were you drawn to specific subject matter as well?
I think it was mostly anything related to travel. And then we became also interested in nature, but then just started going more towards just travel.
Right.
Yeah, travel in general, and architecture, what comes with it, like hotels and things. That was mostly in the beginning. Yeah.
One of the things that I admire about both of your photography is your ability to pluck out the feeling of a place in a particular detail. I feel like really sums up a feeling of a place. And I'm curious, is that a conscious choice, or is it just what you gravitate towards?
I actually think that when we first started to become interested in photography, we also started to become interested in everything around us. So like whether it was an object or like the quality of food or something like that. So we became really interested in just the quality of anything. And when you go to a place and there's like this detail that's so perfect in its own way, we just become attracted to that. Yeah. And we don't need to see the entire structure to get that great feeling. You can just go close in and appreciate like how it is because it's so well made or because something else related to that.
Yeah, that it definitely comes through in your photos, that you can feel the appreciation of the presence of it. Yeah, that's very cool. So what was, after you first started shooting and all that, do you remember what your first professional gig was and how did that evolve?
My God, yeah. It was like a big one actually.
Yeah,
like,
Isola di Capraia.
Yeah, we went to this island in Italy, like a small island, and these people and we kept working with them, and that's so weird. But a fortress, like a big fort on the sea, and it's amazing. And
so it's a really old one, and they restructured it and kind of
1600.
Yeah, and they restructured it and made it into kind of this like luxurious. I think it was initially supposed to be a hotel, but it's not going to be open to the public anymore.
Rooms.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So I think they kind of.
So we shot the first 5 rooms they opened. They finished, and yeah, that was big for us because like we were like they paid for everything. We traveled from New York and then I mean it was we were like wow, okay.
Incredible! What a first! Way to
you'll never forget that moment.
Yeah. Breaking from the top.
Yeah, and it was weird because our style was very, very different. If we look now, I'm just like, oh my God, they really believed in us because if I looked at myself then,
I think it went that this person they had another photographer
who backed out last minute,
and she recommended us.
Oh wow!
The photographer did.
Yeah.
But our style was very gray and moody, and this was like an island. You had to sail the place, yeah. So I do remember they did mention, like, if you could just try and make it a little bit more.
Cheer it up a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That's so funny. So how did the woman that recommended you know about you? Was it a friend or through Instagram?
Just Instagram. No, we don't know her.
Yeah.
Power.
We never met her.
Power of the grams, man.
Yeah, seriously.
She was pretty good too. Like I liked her more.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's great.
Well, that's incredible. And then so after that job, was it a slow evolution of people finding you on Instagram, or were you actively reaching out and starting a business?
I think so.
It was a mixture of both.
It was a mixture of both. Like we still didn't know. We weren't ever like, okay, this is our job and that's it. But it was something that we like to do. Yeah. So we didn't put so much weight on ourselves to be like, okay, we do need to become photographers and we need to make money. No, it was kind of just like, okay, we're doing this. This is fun. Like, let's just go along with the ride. Cool, we got a job. That's great. Yeah. Oh, maybe we can just take this a little bit more seriously every time. And then it was definitely gradual and like slow in the beginning, and it was a lot of mostly personal projects.
Yeah, but we invested money in a way. We knew we wanted to do that, and we said like, let's travel and do something like if it was for someone. So and like even hotels and things. Let's pretend like we're so we had to even have content for Instagram at the beginning because we cared about it, and because it was like we helped us so much in the beginning, of course. Now we use it less, but I mean, that was the best thing because we found
like before we would travel because we were just interested in traveling, and we would obviously take pictures like with our camera or with our phones. And then after a while, we were like, why don't we make our portfolio? Like, why do we have to wait for someone? Right. So we thought that by traveling we could do that, and that's what we started to do. And then we would just do it a little in a smart way, as in maybe going to this really cool hotel for just one night and then staying like at an Airbnb for the others. Like you don't have to, spend the week there. And it actually ended up working really well.
Wow.
So we were happy about that.
What a great way to find your portfolio and your style on your own terms.
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's we were lucky enough to be able to do that, so.
Yeah, that seems like a really great piece of advice and common thread I see from other photographers too, is to create your own projects, constantly be shooting
Because if you wait for someone to like come and give you the project that is going to make your portfolio without you having anything, that's not going to happen. Then no one, and so
for sure.
It's better if you have like a nice shot hotel that you like. It's probably most likely another hotel is gonna ask you to shoot them. Otherwise, it's really hard for it to happen.
Completely. So. And you probably know Italy pretty well then, obviously, as well, having been born and grown up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually found a place that I'm dying to stay at, just outside of Florence, that I think I found through you guys, asking the Val de Rose.
Oh, is it Val de Rose?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It didn't work out my last trip, but I definitely want to.
No, you have to go.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
The people, they're amazing. Now they're two friends, like they're so nice, and it's so nice to stay there.
It looks gorgeous and just outside the craziness of the city. And,
absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. So after some of those jobs, were you having clients approach you?
Yes, I think initially we would get like little projects. So would you like to have this and shoot this? And those like not fun ones. Right. But we can't obviously be like pretentious and say no. But at the same time, I think one thing also that we really stuck to was, as much as you want it, and this again is only if you're lucky enough to be able to say no, is don't do things that you don't want to do in the future. Because if you do bad things, you will just keep probably doing those things.
Right.
And we didn't do that. So we said no to a lot of projects.
Eventually you started shooting for Serial, right?
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, that was like
how that
the
came
beginning when we started. Like it was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And yeah, it's still now. We're still working for them. Like even last week we shot a couple of things in Paris.
Oh, incredible.
So I mean, it's
I think once we
nice.
Reached out to some of our favorite places in New York, we started to we created our group of like a community that we got into, and by meeting people in the industry, that helped us a lot with connections and even just meeting cool people.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't mind, could I ask you a little bit about your process, like a day out shooting? How do you like to think, or do you have any philosophies around shooting, or do you make a shot list, or do you like to just kind of go out and find?
No, we like to know of course we like to know the most about the project before getting to so we can study and we can think about things, because it's always nice to get there with the most clear idea that you can. And then of course then you're gonna improvise anyway, like that's gonna happen, because things are gonna change, and then you're gonna do what you thought about, and then you have still time, so you're gonna do something that, and maybe that's better, than you didn't think about.
I think if it's travel related, anything with like hotels or even just architecture of people's homes, we have that pretty much down to the ground. So we don't really need to plan ahead. Maybe we just hope that the light is going to be great, and that's it. Yeah. And then fashion wise, we really, if it's something that we worked together with the client, that's also not that hard. We have the mood board, we know how it's going to work. We save up some shots that we want to show like the model to do, and for us as well, framings, anything to remember kind of like what our idea is. And then once again, like he said, once you're there, you forget that. You think you're gonna go back and look at it. We don't. You're just there in the moment.
But it's good to have like to work a little bit on
just train your
the
brain
project.
beforehand.
And think about and have images and mood boards.
Do you like mostly natural light, or do you use artificial light at all?
Yeah, definitely natural light. We cannot live without natural light, but we know that artificial light is very important, especially when shooting people.
Yeah. So more and more we're using artificial light.
Are you enjoying getting into that process again?
I think so, because
the technical part is
it also means shooting fashion. So that's something that we've been interested in recently and have been doing. So it's kind of like, oh, well, we're doing this because we're doing that. So it's okay.
Right. Yeah. And did you at any point have any mentors that were guiding you along the way, or were you always just finding your own?
No, unfortunately not.
Unfortunately
but
not. Yeah, inspiration a lot, because I
Yeah.
think that's the most important. Like that's like fundamental, at least for us. Like inspiration a ton, but not a person that actually can. Sometimes I wish we had to ask questions. Then like when you're like, wow, how do I do this? And
even though I feel like it wouldn't be considered a mentor, I'm really happy that I have him every single day, and I can work with him, and I know that we're okay, because when I'm down, he's up, or vice versa. And when I'm like just tired and I don't want to edit, he's doing it, or I'm cooking. I don't know. Like, we're in it together, and that keeps us going.
Yeah, that's so great to have that. Support system at all times.
At all times. Yes.
That helps for sure. You mentioned some inspirations. Are there any that stick out in your mind, or anything you're into right now?
Oh my God, Slimerins.
Slimerins. Yeah.
What about?
I mean, it's in
everything.
Everything.
No, everything.
Everything.
I think it's a mix of everything we would want to do and that we're interested in, like travel, fashion, and like mood.
Yeah.
Because he's done these amazing things in Italy, and the place is beautiful. So you feel like this dolce vita you just want to be in. First of all, the light, the colors, his colors are amazing, and then there's fashion involved. So there's people, and it's not just like the architecture or the whatever. So that.
Yeah, I think he traveled to like famous like places, but his photographs are never like how do you say, like
soulless, like they'll.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not something you go there and maybe he took pictures of places that places that no one else saw, but also places that like Capri, where everybody goes there, and every day people take a ton of pictures of Capri. But you can see, if you see his pictures, then you're like, wow, this is a different place.
Yeah, you're like, I need to go back. I've been
because
there
I
so
didn't
many
see it
times.
that way.
That's an interesting point though too. So how do you guys keep things fresh when these places are just ubiquitous with tons of touristy images, but your work obviously is not. So how do you approach that to make sure that it's not?
I feel like that's a constant battle, and not only with tourists, but like how many people have shot this, how many amazing photographers have shot this. But if you keep saying that, you're not going to do it, and you're not going to do anything. And that's in every industry. So you just have to don't think that, and just keep going and do it. And you'll find something else that no one did, or someone else will see something that they didn't see in another. So
yeah, but mainly, like, for example, I would say like one thing, because now we try and do more, like, of course, fashion and people and things like that. But like the last one we did, that it was like a hotel. It was in Pellicano in Tuscany, and for Serial, for the last edition. So we shot a bunch of for one day, the whole day almost, and we got a lot of pictures, and that was something that came out in a way that we really like, even if it's a really famous place and so many people photographed it. But I think, we managed to do a good, a good job in capturing it in a way that maybe for a long time it wasn't captured. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it definitely has.
Also, thanks to Slim Aaron, he went there and he photographed it, and it was amazing, his work. So trying to see places, even if they're famous and a lot of people go, and with a different perspective. That's it. Yeah, pretty much. I think that's the answer.
Yeah, I think
and also a lot of luck.
It's
a lot of luck. It depends if you are really motivated. Like the sun is out and it's perfect, and you're just there because you only have 30 minutes, so you're going to do your absolute best. I don't know. I think it's a mix of everything.
Those images definitely have your signature on them, though. The ones that you took, obviously they do. So at this point, having shot a lot of travel, what keeps that fresh for you?
That's a good question, because we like it, and now we're trying to shoot places, we like to shoot more places that have character, like in Pellicano, for example. So that's, if we get something like that, we're really happy to do it.
I think the reason we started shooting people is because we thought we were missing that just soul in the photos, like a presence. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a person in it. Yeah. But we just went to the extreme. We're like, no soul, okay, actual soul. Yeah. Right. But now we realize that there are so many places that have history and character and personality. So I think now when we do shoot travel photography, that's what we hope to look for. Yeah.
Do you work with a producer ever, or is it just you guys producing everything and organizing everything?
It depends on the shoot, but yeah, we're like mainly art directors. So art directors.
Yeah, we've worked with one art director. He's amazing. He's based in Paris, and it's very interesting because it was our first time and our only time until now. I mean, it's still our only time.
Right.
And it's interesting to share like creative eyes and make one thing.
You learn so much.
You learn a lot,
especially if you get the good one. Like he's really good. We admire his work for a long time, and it was a dream when he called us for the first time we worked with him. And but then aside from being like a great pleasure, is like really like you learn so much, because even the things he says, like do this, crop the picture this way, and then you're like, wow, this actually works. And I didn't think about it before, so it's nice. Yeah. I bet if you get a good one.
No, I'm sure all creative directors get there for a reason.
No.
But I don't know if this happens to everyone, but when you admire someone so much and you finally get to work with them, I kind of feel like I give them all myself. So I feel very vulnerable. And I probably don't do as great as the job as I normally would. Or I might be like, okay, this is my only chance, so I do. Mm. And that's also where he comes in. So I know I'm like confident. It's like, okay, if I don't do it, he'll do it, So it's fine. But the first time was definitely that, and it felt hard.
Yeah.
You just have to learn to be like, everyone's human, and it's okay.
Right. Speaking of editing and all that, do you have any post-production philosophies or any way that you like to edit your images?
I feel like editing gives a lot of personality. That's how we started. We were into editing, but I think now I think it's a lot more about the photo itself than the editing. The editing helps a lot, especially, color is the first thing that everyone notices. And not everyone can go past that. And if you're an artist, you definitely will. But we like to do it because we're also sensitive to color. So we do have philosophies, but they're not like very intense or anything.
Right. And then when it comes to actually editing down a huge shoot into a handful of images, how do you think about that, or sequencing images that you might have?
If it's a shoot we loved, then we love to edit it. Yeah. We're like, we cannot wait to get home and see it, because sometimes it just makes it so much better. Yeah. Like just the color changing, the little tweaks, you're just like, and you get to see it, and it's like a huge satisfaction.
For a story like in Serial, is there a lot of interaction between the art directors there, or are you kind of left to your own devices?
No, it depends. Still, it depends on the project. But usually, they trust us, so they know that we can deliver what because also when you work for someone like Serial, you have to think of their aesthetic too, not just yours, because it's a mixture, and as it should be, and I think they know that we can.
I think Rosa, who's the editor, was like, the first time we did something, she said, and keep it serial. Of course, she has to say that. And we obviously knew that, and we respect that. Yeah. So, but she was amazing. She's so easy. I'm like, it's insane. You're so down to earth. You're so easy. I'm like, sometimes like, how do you trust us?
Right. Oh, that's really great though. Do you have any favorite travel stories, or some funny one that sticks out in your mind, or an absolute disaster?
Oh my God, disasters are honestly worst nightmare. No, I can, thank God, no. But let me think of a funny one. Well, if I have to say something, it was when we were in Paris. This is when we met the art director that we worked with in Paris, and we did recently 2 projects with him. We did H&M and Sandro in Parisian, and we met him at a party, and it was all like not planned. We didn't know we were going to meet him, but we knew he was there. We didn't know who he was, though. We had no idea what his face looked like. And he was like, okay, but we should be here and we should find him. And, you just have to do those things. And we ended up meeting him through Italians in Paris. So it was all, I don't know. It's sometimes when you're like, things are meant to happen.
Yeah.
It happened.
We met this, so we were there at the party. We heard someone speaking Italian, so we were like starting talking with them. And they at one point I was like, do you know anyone? And so he was like, I know everybody here, I work with them. So he introduced us to the art director that we work for now sometimes. And the funny story is that we still keep in touch with the guy, and we're going in August with him on a cruise in the Mediterranean.
No, not a cruise,
on a boat, like on a sailing boat. On
oh my God!
Wow. So that's
I
like
know, it's so funny.
From meeting him at a party, then working, and then going on vacation with them. And that's weird.
And then probably another thing was when we did something for Serial Magazine, which was that hotel, Il Pelicano. It was. We already knew about the hotel, so we were so excited about it. We were like, this is like a dream come true. And because Slamarins shot it, so we were like, wow, we got to go there and stay there. And when we were driving, we had one day to shoot it. And we were driving there the day before, and it was pouring rain. Like, it was like...
a disaster.
Like a tsunami was coming, too, I felt. And I was like, what are we going to do? And so we emailed Rosa about maybe staying there an extra day or something, and she was... And obviously, logistically, we couldn't. And then she was like, just do what you can. And we were like, no, my God, this would be such a bummer because we wouldn't have what we wanted.
Right.
We could take pictures, but they wouldn't come out like we wanted to. And then the next day we woke up and it was like bright and sunny and perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
But that's probably, like you go from feeling such emotions because of light and you can't control it. And it's so stressful. And that's happened a lot.
If given the preference, do you prefer morning light or afternoon light?
Ooh, that's hard.
Yeah,
I really hate to wake up early.
I don't blame you.
Like, no, it's impossible. So I prefer actually
but
sunset.
not even that close to sunset, to be honest. Like, I like when the sky is really blue, actually, now. Better than to be orange or whatever.
I feel like a lot of the times you can't really tell.
Yeah.
Like, it depends how you take the picture.
Right.
But at least the way we've been doing it, I could be like, oh, this is sunset or this is sunrise, and the person wouldn't be able to tell unless they see where the sky is and they know east and, I don't know, west.
And do you find that you guys gravitate towards a certain lens length, or do you vacillate between them?
I think I've been, like more...
But I mean, depends. Like, depends what we're shooting, of course. But usually, like, we're not like wide lens like fans. So we're like more from 50 to 70, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we gravitate in that focal length mainly. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. I've tried to love a 28. I just can't.
No, not just.
Oh my God, we had like a
just don't see that way. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's when we
It's
thought
a good
we
camera.
knew what we were doing, and the Leica, it's a great camera. We're not street photographers.
Yeah, but I mean, it's nice to have a 50. Like go the whole 50.
Yeah, but
and
I would love to even go beyond 70 too.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I always find myself like zooming in. I don't know why.
Yeah. So just drawn to those details, maybe. Or?
Yeah, but not
but even
necessarily.
like, I'd rather step away and zoom than like get closer and have a wider.
Yeah, I think a
like,
little the distortion that bothers me. I
Even
know
the
that you can
perspective
fix also.
even the perspective you get, like, it's different because you're less.
And I think we like clean images also, although we're kind of trying to be more spontaneous. But right now it's all about clean, and when you really step out, it's like you just see so much.
Right.
And there's so much to fix, and so many angles and so many lines, so it gets complicated.
Yeah, it's tough because, in that wide, everything has to tell the story. And
Yeah.
if it doesn't, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I like to ask the following question of people that travel a lot. Do you guys have any philosophies around travel or travel essentials to make life easier?
Like, not photography wise, just...
Or both. Do you imagine at this point you have a pretty pared down kit or one that you like working with? Has that just become a streamlined
I mean, we mainly, like, even when we travel and we go to shoot, like, do some work, we always just bring the camera.
Oh my God, we do not have those Pelican cases, or is that what they're called? We absolutely should, because sometimes I'm like, how do I only have this little cotton canvas bag to cover my camera? Like, people think we are so unprofessional.
No, that happens all the time, actually. You go, like, to a shoot. No, not all the time, but sometimes you go to a shoot and they're like, that's all you have?
We're so minimal.
I mean, yes, that's
some
all
people
I
are
got.
so happy about it. They're like, no tripod, that's amazing, because they just, they
people,
don't want, they just want the photographers to, like, not be there, actually.
Right.
Yeah. To feel like we're not there. And some people love that. And some people who don't quite understand, they're like, that's all you have?
Yeah.
Sure, you can get the job done.
We're paying you for what?
Yeah, exactly.
We were talking
That's really
about
funny.
this with a friend 2 days ago, and he said, like, you should, like, just have, like, a few extra bags with, like, crap inside, and just, like,
Just bring your
Yeah,
clothes.
that's it. That's the equipment, and then you just use the camera.
Yeah, he was actually saying that there's this amazing photographer who shoots for, like, Vogue and who does Vogue covers, and he just has this, like, little film camera. But the people, they just can't grasp the idea that you can only use that. So he brings in all these fake equipment and just, like, lays it down, and that's it.
It's funny, yeah. You can only use one camera at a time. That's what. That was a hard. Like, I got in the habit of bringing way too many cameras on every trip, and I ended up using the same one, the same lens for everything. So.
I think for personal traveling, I would love to get just, like, a small film camera. I mean, you can't really get a big film camera unless you were crazy, but yeah, I think that's just, like, the best. You don't think too much, you just do it, and then you see the surprises after. It's like you relived your travel twice.
Yeah.
So that's what I would recommend.
Nice. Do you do that currently? Bring a film camera?
No, but I will. It's like one of those things where I'm like, that's what I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to do, and then I don't, but I will.
Nice. Yeah, I've always brought a little. I think it's like an Olympus point shoot that I got at B&H used, like, years ago, and it's still my favorite camera. It's just load up a roll, and you get surprises in the end. Do you guys have a favorite city or an area of the country where you just love the light and you love it?
In the United States?
Or anywhere that just
Oh my
inspires
God,
you to no end.
anywhere.
Yeah, that's so hard.
Oh my God, yeah.
It depends, because it depends for different reasons. Like,
I think right now, like, it depends, what stage you're asking us in life. But if
Right.
you're asking us today, I would say, like, the whole south of Italy. Because that's actually where we're going to do, like, a personal project next. So that's what has inspired us. But after that, we might say something different.
Right.
yeah. Yeah, we got, like, drawn away from, like, the aesthetic of Italy for a while.
long time, yeah.
And then now we're, like, I don't know, like, we love it. That's what we want to try and do some, like, like
A lot more projects.
a longer project, and staying there for a while.
Oh, wow.
Maybe. It's traveling down south for a month and see and get a, like, some, like, simply, like, reporting some of the south and see, like, some, like, scapes. There could be if we find out about, like, a house that we want to shoot that, and maybe if it happens and someone wants to get away and, like, get in the project, maybe do some fashion, like, in
Like a
in the south.
campaign, or just, like, a
campaign.
little project.
And put it all together and see how it comes out.
Yeah, that's kind of inspired by Slimerins, really. So not necessarily everything. Slimerins does a lot of staged fashion, obviously. We want to do a little bit of a mix, documentary, but not in the typical street photography way. A little bit more high end.
Yeah.
We haven't really planned it out. Honestly, we just know once we're there, we'll know what to do. We just have to find out what hotels to stay at and how long.
Are you going in the summer or?
Yeah, we want to avoid summer, like midsummer peaks. Because it's really filled with
Or maybe
tourists.
May.
And probably not the best tourist to photograph, unfortunately. I mean, you never know, but...
Yeah, I feel like the graphic T-shirt has ruined.
I know, it's so
trying to shoot in
unfortunate.
big cities.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, really? Can't everyone just be art director from like the 1940s?
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
yes.
Now sometimes I'm like, it was so easy to go on a beach like in the 70s
To
and
be a
shoot.
photographer,
It was like
yeah.
it's so easy because everybody looks cool. You know? now, not so much.
That's totally true. So are you also inspired by Italian culture, having grown up there? Do you find that you gravitate towards that, or do you like to look outwards?
I think as it's always in the back of, like, you know, my head. Like it's not something that I use maybe I mean I could, but it's not something that is like my inspiration daily. But I think that being growing up there helped me so much, like to see things.
I think it's how you use it. So if you grow up in Italy and are very Italian minded, it could be a great thing compared to a lot of things, but it could also hold you back. And if you use it in the best way possible, then it's the best.
Yeah.
It really is.
And for you, what is that in the best way?
You're right. That's obviously a personal thing. I think it's...
Because you're surrounded, like, first of all, like you're surrounded with culture, of course, and so you're used to see things like the people maybe go to Florence are like, wow, and I'm like, okay, I am walking here every day, you know, and that's, but it actually, like, like you don't realize, but you have it in you, like then you actually know what, you know, I don't know, for some reason.
I think it's okay, appreciate it.
Yeah.
So Italians sometimes know they have things, but they don't really appreciate it. And then they do, but then they don't. And then when they make things, they don't make it with quality like their ancestors did. And so if you know that what you have is amazing and you keep doing that, then that's great.
Right. It seems like there is a little kind of movement almost in Florence where I feel like there's, on the Alto Arno, there's all these young craftsmen and tailors and all these younger Italians taking up those kind of almost lost.
Yeah,
trades,
and they
which is
kind of
wonderful.
just want to make money, and their businesses are mainly for tourists. So then where's the passion? Where's the quality?
No, like mainly influence. She's saying like that because up until now, actually, like so many like young people kind of ruin the business in Florence. I don't want to say like everything is tourist like driven.
Right.
So even before, back in the days, like you could like walk in Florence and stop at any restaurant and it will be good. Now,
because
by
whoever
no
opened
means
up a restaurant,
it would
it
be
was
bad.
Right.
Now, there's tourist traps. Tourist traps. So,
Sure.
so you can't do that. You have to know where to go. And then you can find good places. But you're right. Like now, like there is young people, like some, they're starting businesses and like trying to pay more attention to it. So I think that's a good thing for Florence. Like, and
Oh
I'm
yeah,
happy
that's
about it.
definitely there are so many Italians still who want to keep that tradition of quality because all of Italian products back in the day were with quality.
So and same. So I mean, I think it's really good. Like I'm happy about it because it's such a beautiful city, and sometimes I complain so much about it just because
He's Italian.
and I felt so many times that like especially like artistic jobs, sometimes it's not like that. They people don't think that you're actually working, which you are, but and they don't value it so much. But now since like these things start like coming up, then maybe it's gonna be more appreciated and more people are gonna start doing it.
Is it hard for you to shoot Florence, having grown up there, or is it?
No.
Is it easy to look at it with fresh eyes?
Actually,
it's
no.
really hard.
I mean, it's hard, but I mean,
like,
it's really
what?
hard. It's really hard because it has really like a,
I think the reason I'm saying it's hard is because every time we go there at least twice a year. We don't take our cameras out when we go on a walk. So that's why it's hard, because we don't even think about like just always having it with us because we're just walking in our
here
hometown.
is the same though, if you think about it.
Yeah, New York is the same.
So it's I think it's mostly about like the fact that now we like it a little bit. We like it. So like last time we did a fashion project there, and actually like came out pretty good. Like we really like it
in Florence.
Yeah.
So I think we're
starting to see it with fresher eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
We're starting to become we're starting to become those people who
But
are like, actually, wait, hold on.
but
Italy is an amazing country.
No, I think it's nice to know a place really well, like the way we know Florence, but then kind of be able to see it with a fresh eye, because you didn't see it that way. Yeah, you know when you know a place, but you don't see it in a way that is like your like photographing ground, so that and then you actually start seeing it that way, but you know it. So that's like, I think it's a cool thing. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you don't carry a camera very often. Do you guys have any sort of daily artist practice, or you're just always thinking about photography, or you try not to?
We don't have our camera out daily, although I wish we did, and that's why I want to start doing these like little personal projects and doing things differently than what we normally do. So not just having a project in mind, shooting it, and that's it. I want to try something else, whether it's like not necessarily street photography, but having that little film camera with you and just shooting, because you never know where it will take you or how it will inspire you for the photography that you actually like to do and get paid for.
Right.
So I think when we're not doing that, though, we're definitely researching constantly, and we're always thinking of the next project.
Yeah.
So we're busy in our heads.
Yeah.
No, I feel like people always say like, if you want to be a photographer, like you have to like shoot. But that's true. But also like think, what you want to do and research what you want to do and see what other people did, because
I mean, everyone's approach is different.
Yeah. Sure. But I think that's really for us. It was really important. Like, and it's still really important.
And at this point, how do you guys feel about social media and Instagram? Is it still a part of your...
It's definitely very important. I mean, that's where people are still now, and it's a portfolio. We use it as a portfolio, and we also use it for inspiration. I mean, we follow these photographers who are great, and we get to see them every day or whenever they post, and we're like, that's amazing. Or, ooh, where can we go? Or, oh, that's, I don't know. It's like, if for inspiration, we use it. For portfolio, we use it. And
we use it a little bit less in terms of like actual social media like we did before.
We're definitely not, we're not like active social people. We won't ask how your day is going in our photograph. But yeah.
Like our captions are really like 2 words.
I mean, captions I wish they didn't even exist. If I could choose, if Instagram could be like, no more captions, I would be so happy.
I know there's this weird sort of false language that's evolved out of Instagram.
Absolutely.
It's like, what? Like,
yes.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a great tool. Like, I love seeing, like, and getting inspired.
And again,
from
Instagram is for so many different reasons. It's not just for that anymore. It's for those people as well, like bloggers who interact with their, what are they called, Instagrammers, for their business. Like, that's great for other people. But I think in our business, in our photography, it's like, yeah, I mean, I would love to know more about the people who like our work, and I don't know why we don't. You actually just opened up a great question. Even like, just having you come in made me realize that's actually really cool. Maybe we should know more. I don't know why. I think we're so right now busy in where we want to get to. Yeah. But we should be less selfish and definitely know a little bit more about our fans.
Yeah. Do you guys find that you get a certain question over and over?
Definitely how we edit a photo.
Oh, that's interesting.
And or what camera we use, which is my favorite one.
Which it doesn't really matter.
Because I'm like, if
you want to, I know. But I think maybe the editing part, which is not like you can like tell like maybe we can get you can come and I'll give you a class or something, because otherwise it's not easy. You're gonna say, I mean, I use a Lightroom. What are you gonna do then? I mean, it's not that I don't want to, because it's not a secret or anything. It's just that it takes practice and just training.
For sure. I'm sure somebody's asked you to put out a LUT or something, right, at some point?
What?
Like a LUT in Lightroom? I'm sorry, is that what
preset.
A preset, yeah. Sorry, on the film
that
side,
is
it's a LUT.
video, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they did. I don't know.
Would does teaching interest you guys at all, or doing workshops?
I feel like we're still like in our process, so I'm like, wait, someone needs to teach us still. Like, I would love to learn more, so I don't feel like, I mean, we could definitely do a class, but
class in Italy, I'll be the first one to sign up.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. I mean, why not? Like, yes. Also, because I mean, I feel like when I explain things, like. You learn more. Like, I don't know why, for some reason. Like,
no, I think that's very true. It's really true. Yeah. Because then you're asked to explain, well, why?
Yeah,
exactly.
And then
you're like, oh well.
Now I have to think about it. Yeah.
I think that's kind of it for my questions. Is there anything else you feel like you want to get into or talk about? Is there anything like process oriented that I didn't ask you that you feel like I'm missing? Or?
Oh my God, I don't think so. I mean, I feel like we never talk about this, so I'm also like, wow, I learned so much from you. I didn't know you thought all these things.
Yeah, it's funny the things one internalizes without.
No, it really is true, and especially the way our relationship is based, it's so like we just already know what we're thinking.
Yeah.
So there really isn't much. I mean, we talk a lot, we discuss a lot, work, relationship, we mix it all in, but we never talk about these things because I don't know. It's just like,
Right.
yeah, you know, yeah,
Right.
yeah, we got it. Yeah, we know what they think. Yeah, sure.
Nice.
So it's cool. It's like almost like a therapy session.
For sure.
That's true.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Todd.
it. And I look
It was
forward to
great.
more of your work, and yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.